Hey everybody, it's your Uncle Bear. So from the depths of my twisted memories, I got to thinking today back, I suppose it was probably back in 1990, 1991. Me and a couple other flatbedders were out in Seattle, and we all picked up empty containers, ship containers, and they were going to Corwin Springs, Montana. They had bought. It was going to a religious cult. The day after we delivered these containers was actually the last day for all of us. They were burying the containers into the top of this mountain, and they were going to live in them and stock them with supplies, because the end of the world was the following day. So anyway, we were instructed to meet the guy that was going to guide us to where we needed to be. We met him at a cafe, a bar and grill out in the middle of nowhere. And then he said, yeah, it's about a mile up the road. He says, just follow me. We get to the bottom of the mountain, and it was 3 miles up this winding road to the top at 17% grade. Now, most of our mountain passes in the United States, 17%, you get a Canadian driver and they'll go, oh yeah, because they got lots of 17% up there. We don't have very much 17% unless we're off-roading here. So that's a pretty steep hill. Anyway, we stopped at the bottom, and the roads in that were mostly dry. And we stopped at the bottom, and I asked the guy, I said, is it dry all the way up? Oh yeah, no problem. He lied. It was snowpack all the way up, and slippery snowpack at that. Anyway, and it was a narrow road. Well, we get about halfway up, and I'm in the back. And anyway, there was a utility truck broken down on the road about halfway up. And so the first truck, he had to swing kind of wide to make sure his trailer missed this utility truck. Think about like a welder, just a pickup with toolboxes on the back of it. Anyway, so he swung wide and he spun out, and his truck and trailer ended up kind of teetering off the right side of the road there, and he was having a heck of a time getting it back on. Anyway, so they had to bring down a cat from the top of the hill to pull his truck and trailer back onto the road. And when they brought the cat down, they pulled him back onto the road. Well, then his trailer, for whatever reason, he set his trailer brakes. I guess he figured that would help prevent him from going over the side if it decided to. Anyway, so they pulled him back on the road. Well, then he's underneath the trailer with his cheater pipe beating on the brakes because they had frozen. And anyway, while he was under there, now there's a line of vehicles from all over the country. Texas plates, New Jersey plates, North Carolina plates. They're from all over the country, because this cult, all these people were coming because the end of the world was the following day. So they were here to get hunkered in. So anyway, this big old boy gets out of his car, and he walks up there, and he kicks this guy's kicks this guy's truck. And that guy come out from under that trailer with that cheater pipe, and it was a company truck, you know. So I mean, and the guy, I'm not even sure what part of the truck it kicked, but anyway, apparently he came out and went at that guy with his cheater pipe. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with that term, a cheater pipe is a pipe they use to tighten the winches down on the side of a trailer to make sure they're tight, their straps are tight, and the chains excuse me, and the chains and binders are tight, you know. It gives you a little bit of leverage. So anyways, he goes after this guy with his cheater pipe. Well, the guy takes his cheater pipe away from him. Like I say, he's a big old boy, and the guy the driver was a little skinny guy, and the guy took his cheater pipe away and hit him, knocked him down the rocks. Now, I didn't see any of this. I was back in my truck, and anyway, knocked him off the side of that hill, and he went down the rocks, I guess. Anyway, short story long, got his trailer brakes unfroze. We get up to the hill, top of the hill, you know, and they're taking the containers off our trucks. And I walk over to his truck. Well, his face is all bloodied up, you know. I said, "What the hell happened to you?" And anyway, he told me what happened, you know. And anyway, after we all got unloaded, we got back down off the hill, you know, and went back to Livingston, you know. We sat down to have lunch, you know. And anyway, the second driver, the one that was in front of me, he saw the whole everything that was going on. I didn't see any of it. And anyway, I chewed his ass. I said, "Man," I said, "you don't let somebody come up and mess with another driver like that, for starters." I said, I looked at the little guy and I said, "And you should know better than to go after somebody with a weapon." I said, "You're lucky." I said, "You're lucky he only hit you once and you went down the rocks." I said, not that I'm defending the guy. The guy was a jerk, you know, but I suppose if you're in a cult and they tell you the end of the world is the following day, you're kind of in a hurry to get down the hole and hide. I don't know. Never been in a cult. Never had to face the end of the world either, for that matter. But that's one of them weird loads that we sometimes get in this industry, you know. You just gotta roll with the flow, right? Just go with the flow, man. Just go with the flow. Be safe out there, everybody. Let me hear you in the comments, all right? What was your weird load that you'll never forget? Have a great day. Be safe.